Hello, everyone. Welcome to our FemCity Monday class. We do this every Monday. These classes are for you. We get classes. We have a list of classes of things that people want us to talk about. And today's is quite unique. And we have an amazing teacher who I just happen to know quite well, have been vacationing with in Spain recently as well. We had a great time there as well. But I want to introduce the class. So first of all, I'm Lynn Pelzer. I'm the CEO of FemCity, and I'm just moderating this class, telling you who's on and what's going on. And then I'm going to hand it over to Melissa. But our class today is Intuitive Happiness for Your Home, Tips to Design Your Home for Your Best Life. So this is a unique class with a unique teacher who's I'm going to tell you just a little bit more about Melissa too, so you'll understand why this is going to be cool. So Melissa is a creative leader and CEO of Aurora Designs, but she's also an award-winning interior designer, a spiritual channel, an empath, a furniture designer. She's been a paid speaker. She is an author and a podcast host. So she has this beautiful blend of feelings going into things. That's how I kind of want to describe it when I was thinking about the class.
I love it, Lynn. I love it.
Things that are tangible things that people are going to have in their life, in their home. But then there's all of this empathic, intuitive things of you that I can see would help make it the best that it possibly can be. So thank you for joining us, Melissa, and bringing your expertise. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you, my dear. You can go ahead and put the slides up if you like. There you go. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Alex. I see. I love my fans. I'm so glad for any femmes that this might help. As you hear, I have a unique little mix of skills that tie into what I do. It's really funny because being an empath and a spiritual channel is one of those things where people are like, oh, so you coach. No, actually I do basically interior architecture, which isn't exactly what you're expecting when I bring that up first. You can go ahead and go on to the next slide. I don't know if I can control that or if you control that.
You will control it from there.
Oh, I see it. I see the arrows now. Okay. Yeah, awesome. Found it. This is actually a Spain picture. So I wanted to give you, because there's like, if someone's teaching a class like this, you're like, why should I listen to you? Why should I care? This is just a rundown of me. Just so you can get a bird's eye view of all of the stuff. So you heard all the spiritual stuff, deep empath, channeler, spiritually connected to a lot of realms. Education, EEE, equals my registered interior designer. I earned that. I had to do all of those things in order to get that, and it was very difficult. I have this acronym, this little few letters called BCIN. Here in Ontario, I apply for permits with my drawings, and it's my stamp. That's what that means. That means I know a lot about permits and zoning and all of that part of the fussy part of the design process. I'm an expert on quite a few things. A couple is what I call forever home and what a bunch of other people call aging in place. Aging in place is like a boo-hiss word in Western society. So I like to use the word forever home. I also am an expert on accessibility in the home. There's a lot. There's a lot more. Lighting, there's tons of stuff. Dimensionability for interior design is an actual kind of certificate I have. A qualification I have is the word I'm looking for. I am constantly doing ongoing education on a huge variety of topics. I am doing ongoing speaking like this, but also to my peers, to the public in general. I do a bunch of speaking. I've been speaking for years now on interior design topics, on business topics. I've done a class on networking for introverts. I also sat down and did a podcast episode with Lynn about creating a great workplace culture, because I'm very proud of what I've created at my business, and a lot of people love hearing about that. Very connected to my industry. I have a fam. I know a lot of people in my industry. I'm an international designer. I'm award-winning, and all the stuff you heard Lynn go through. I'm also a FemCity Founder Circle member. So you can also find me on the FemCity website in the directory. I'm going to plug that. So that's a little bit about me. I'm a member of some organizations here. You can see I might be a little qualified to talk to you about this stuff. I've been in my industry. I've had my business for 10 years. I've been in my industry for 15. And what is this living your best life thing? I'm first off, let's give some context. If you're going to design to live your best life, what's your best life? This is how I'm going to kind of introduce this concept to you. Your best life is improving your routines and your family's routines. If you have a family that lives with you, have a better morning. If you're working from home, you're more productive. If you're not working from home, you're still happier. You're happier in general. And this also works if you're not working from home. You free yourself up to elevate, expand, improve, all of these wonderful, yummy words that we love here at FemCity, and we love raising each other up. And that's what living your best life means. And in a very profound, casual words from my husband, your best life is easy. Your best life isn't complicated and horrible and hard and stressful. Your best life is easy. So let's make your life easier. So that's a bit of context I'm going to introduce you to, because what does that have to do with, oops, sorry, tapped too many times. I'm going to give you 3 general tips, and we're going to go into a little bit for each one. First tip, it's all in the routines. This means improving your space isn't about just making it pretty. It's about making your life better. I don't do pretty. I do pretty. I do freaking gorgeous. I love this. I love waking up to this. Oh my God, I can't believe I got this. That's what I do. I don't do that's pretty. I do a lot deeper than that. And I do that tailored to you. This is why I chose, even when I was in school and you're like, you can't really know what you want to do. I wanted to do residential because of that really personal connection to my clients. And as you see, because of all the abilities I have, I've always designed very intuitively, even before I knew the word empath existed, before I knew how deeply empathic I have, and before I honestly gave myself credit for the abilities I have. Let's toot that horn for all FEMs, like giving yourself credit for the abilities you have rather than, allowing yourself to think that everyone's got it and you're not special. You're always special. I'm gonna, spoil that for you. So what I'm giving you tips about is how I approach things. I want you to know you are getting a professional interior designer's tips. This is showing you how I approach this. So instead of giving you like, oh, you should paint your walls white to make them look bigger, I would rather teach you how to think like I do, because that's going to help you way more than giving you a paint color. So the first one is it's all in the routines. These are questions I literally ask you if I do your custom home or a big renovation or any project with you. I ask these questions. What works? What doesn't? And you're like, what does this have to do with making my office prettier? What works in your office and what doesn't? Even if you can't address them all, I love this. This is what I typed this in and I was like, I love it. How could your space conform to how you'd love to do things versus you conforming to your space? How could your space adjust so you can do things better versus you trying to change how you do things to suit your space? Change how you're thinking about it. What do you do now? What would you like to do? What would you like to do that you don't? What are your aspirations? What do you aspire to? How can your space help you? If you're one of those people that want to work with luxury clients, maybe you want to put things in your space that remind you of luxury. Maybe you want to put things like, by the way, I wore this walking around the house talking to my mom about her house this morning, and she was like, you dressed up. And I was like, yes, I want to feel fantastic. That's the aspirational me I want to be. I want to feel graceful and beautiful all the time. So I'm starting to step up for myself. But how can your space support these things? How can they support where you want to go? If you want to travel, maybe you should have more travel pictures up. Maybe you have locations you want to go to. I don't know. What are your, in some cases, when I do accessible design, these are literally physical aspirations. Maybe you had an accident and you're wheelchair bound. Do you want to walk down your hall? Do you want to do certain things? Do you want to use the sink standing up? Like, these are things I want to know where your dreams and supporting your dreams and all of that in your space. So that is how the routines work. Asking those original 3 questions: what works, what doesn't? And then how do you want to be doing things, and why can't you? And how can your space help with that? It could be changing where the furniture layout is. It could be adding pieces, taking pieces away. Maybe it's like, there's many different ways you can get there. Tip number 2. Hi guys, ignore what everyone else is doing. I feel like this is in a way very much a FemCity message. You're unique. You need to stop staring at everyone else's situation and thinking their situation is going to work for you. Even if you're getting tips out of it, you're like, oh, I love how Lynn does her hair. I'd really love to try that someday. But you're not necessarily saying, I'm going to be Lynn. Or you'll collect something someplace else. Violet has amazing skincare routine. Maybe you want to look up her skincare. She's posted it several times. Like, picking up little tips, but not thinking that because I don't do my hair like Lynn, I'm less than Lynn. We're just 2 different people. So that works with your space. If you get nothing else from this, I want you to know that your space should be yours, especially your home. Your home should be yours. It should set your heart on fire. Even if that setting on fire makes sense to no one else, it doesn't matter. People will love it because you love it so much. Your family, your situation's unique. Don't ask someone what you need in a living room. Don't Google, what do I need in a living room? I see you. What do you need in your living room? Maybe you're not a sectional person. Maybe that doesn't make any sense to you. Maybe you're literally someone who's had too many people visit and you don't want that many seats in your living room. Or, like, as someone literally told me, a very nice retired lady who's I believe single, didn't have anyone living with her. She realized she had a second bedroom and she didn't want it to be a guest room because she didn't want people staying over. And I love that sort of mindset where what do you need out of your situation? What do you need for that space? Don't look to what everyone else needs out of that space, because they don't need the same things you do. They don't do, even if you have the same job and like the same background, you don't do things the same way. So don't worry about conforming to a specific style either. I'm gonna help you out here. I never design to a style. It's not. I always tailor things to my clients. This is about what makes you happy. If we have a mid-century modern piece with a Rococo piece, you can Google that later if you don't know what those 2 things are. We're going to put them together and this is going to be magic and you're going to love your space. But I may not, even if someone likes a specific style like country, it may not be just a country space. There may be modern elements. There may be other things. So please don't worry about trends in your home. This isn't a sweater. It's not a pair of pants. It's a space. It's a permanent space in your home. If people aren't into dark walls right now and you love dark walls and they make you so happy, who the heck cares about everyone else loving white walls when you love dark walls? This is what I'm saying. One of the only things I love about trends is it brings more variety into the marketplace. Like, I love rose gold and copper. It's one of my favorite things. Before it became a trend, it was not available almost anywhere. Now that it's been a trend for a while, people like me get to have rose gold and copper, like everything. Almost all the finishes are available in that color, but they're more widely available. So now I can access them. Colored faucets and things like that came up. Is it for everybody? No. But for those specific people who are like, if I could just have a green faucet, this would be amazing, then they now have the availability to do that. And keeping this in mind, how long will you be there? So is this just a few years? You're like, well, it's just us two. We just had a baby. The space is fine for now, but we do realize we want a bigger family. And we know when we get that income, we're going to get a bigger place in like a few years. Is this your forever home? Those are two very different those are two very different processes in your mind. That's something I ask. I ask, how long are you going to be here? Because those are two very different things. There are permanent things I will do in a home. It's your forever home. Because honestly, if it's your forever home, by the time someone else gets it, they're going to redo it anyway. Versus if you're going to sell it in 5 years, we want to keep that in mind with what you're doing with your space, so that paint's easy. You're going to have to repaint anyway. Things like that are easy to change up, or like furniture pieces might be these big dramatic pieces that you can take with you. So those are some things to keep in mind in this whole thing of I'm going to be my own unique little flower and have my amazing space that makes me really happy. That said, this is where we get to, yes, Melissa, that's great, but I don't know what I like, and I'm going to have to look to somebody else. Feel the love and not the like. We don't go for, oh, that's nice. I go for what sets your heart on fire. This is the digging I do when I work with my clients. Even my parents, I'm doing a home for, who has never even thought about design. Almost all the pieces they have that I've grown up with that are around are like, they were supposed to be temporary pieces. There's a bunch that were like, oh, we'll just use this for now and then we'll get nice stuff later. And they never did. They've hardly ever altered any homes that I've ever lived in. And I've lived in quite a few. So you will need to look to other people. I want you to fall in love with your home, please. Allow yourself to do that. That's the goal I want for you. I really want you to fall in love. Even if this is temporary, if this is just for a few years, why not frickin' love the space and make it so much easier to get through those few years? Search for looks that give you the feels, whatever those are for you in your aspirational space. If you want it to feel dramatic and moody, so one of the things I do is I pull out words from people. So one of the activities you may want to do in this space, how do I want to feel, me and my family? How do I want guests to feel? I use 3 words. Use 3 words for both. That will tell you so much about what direction you should be taking in those rooms. And it's also really, for me anyway, it's very revealing when those 2 sets of words are very different. Search for looks that give you the feel. So that means that set your heart on fire in whatever way. If you want it to be dramatic, if you want this to feel cozy, if you want it to feel expansive and open, if you want it to be colorful and energetic, like if those are whatever your words are, I don't want you to go, that's nice, and save it. Like, don't use that as direction. Keep going until you find something that you go, oh my God, I love that. That should be your reaction to these spaces you're saving. Take inspiration from others instead of copying directly. That's from a professional designer to you. Things look better when you curate. So this kind of ties into the other one. If you have the patience, don't be afraid to collect things over time. Every space looks better. Honestly, Violet, our CEO of Fem City, is a great example. She has training in design that I didn't really know about, to be honest, until she brought it up again in one of her reels. She knows all about curating. She finds stuff at all kinds of places for her home that she just loves. That is what I want for you. So you may not have that patience, but know that it will look more professionally done and put together if you're not buying like literally going to the big box store like Ashley's Furniture in the US and like buying the entire set that's on the floor where the coffee table matches the side tables and all the sofas are the same. Like, if you love that and that will make you so happy, that's great. However, it won't look like a design curated space that like a professional designer would do. And that's one of those tips. I also tend to find there doesn't tend to be one picture that is like, I want everything from this room. Usually it's like, I like this piece and I like the color of that wall, but I don't think I really like the color of that wall. Maybe I would need it to be lighter because I don't have as many windows as they do. And like a lot of these things come out, and that is sort of the bit of the research you do. So, and some items need to balance the ones that steal the scene. But overall, your space, I love this word. Thank you, Violet. Yummy. I love the word yummy. Not, I like that space. It should be yummy. It should make you really happy. It should make you excited overall. However, no, if you're one of those people that gets too enthusiastic, not every single piece is going to make you fall in love. Not every single piece is going to set your heart on fire. The point is for the overall to do that, because you may have this beautiful, complicated, amazing painting you're going to put in that room. And if everything is beautiful, colorful, and amazing along with that painting, it's going to get lost, so to speak. You get my point. So those are my 3 tips to start thinking like I would, like an intuitive interior designer would, to design your space. And it doesn't seem practical, but it is, I promise. This is the emotional part. Define. The practical part's easy, because once you know all of these things and you have the inspiration is what guides you through the next steps. Because now you can take that and go, I really love that kitchen, and every kitchen I like was white. However, I had a few that had white countertops and white cabinets. I didn't really like that. So you'll start to find patterns in things, and this will give you guidance on where you'd like to go. It literally does with me and my clients. This is how I discover things with my clients. And I have a bit of bonus content. You're like, great, you just introduced me to a lot of information I'm gathering and not a lot of practical stuff. This is your options after you start. This is to create a home you set your heart on fire, not just you're okay with. So the first one of the options is DIY. You do it yourself. This is my professional advice to you to get the best out of your project. Document everything in agonizing detail. If you hire someone, you can go on Fiverr. I don't know if I've heard that in Canada. I don't think that might be a US thing as well. You can go and get someone to draw things out for you. Or you can draw it out on a piece of paper. Document everything. Put everything on paper. Everything is chosen before any work is done, even the demolition. You'll thank me later. Bonus points for ordering and receiving everything before the work is done. This is what we do. And that's what makes projects successful, is you don't have the tiler there and they go, where's the tiles? And then your tiler can't come for another month or 2 because they're booked. At least here in the GTA, that's definitely going to happen. If the tiles were there, we wouldn't have this problem. So that's why we do this all the time. Even if you can't store everything on site, we do things like rent a storage unit or bring a storage container on site, and we put everything in it so that the contractor doesn't need to search for anything. It's all in there. It's all ready. And we check to make sure everything's good. The more organized you are, the better. Your project will be way more successful the more organized you are. If you're not an organized person, I recommend having someone help you with it. And get your ducks in a row before you start anything. So even if you're like, oh, if you're playing GC and you're like, oh, I'll just get a demolition crew and then I'll worry about everyone else, I would line everyone up. I mean, one, you want everyone to price everything out before you start, but also get all your ducks in a row. Make sure you talk to everyone, because the synergies between people and how they work together and how each phase kicks off another phase of construction, and even designing and ordering, getting all your ducks in a row will make more sense, and it will tell you about things you don't know yet. Or you can get help. I am a big educator, whether I'm with clients or whether I'm talking or whether I'm with friends. You have options. You can have someone help you as you need them. So you could pull in a designer to say, there are certain designers that will do this. Melissa, can I just call you when we're ready with the finishes so you can look them over and tell me if I missed something? Like, you can get someone to pull in. You could do a consultation. I do this paid consultations all the time, where I give you all this amazing design advice and you go do what you're going to do. You can get the design done and manage everything yourself. So that means you get everything documented, you make sure everything's going to work together, and that if you get the right designer that works with life safety and permits and stuff like I do, you also get that information, layout stuff that you may not get if it's just the pretty. That's one option. Another option is what I do. And a lot of people don't understand that that's an option. You can get the whole thing done and managed by someone else. There's a lot of busy people out there. You don't have to do any of that. That's just a bit of like, those are your next steps. So taking this information, and I'm also big on educating on like being prepped to do a successful reno. And this is a ton of that information. And that's it. So I just want to put some stuff up here. If you want to find me, if you want to chat with me, I'm going to plug again. The FemCity website has the Founders Circle directory. I am in it. I have contact information in there. I also have my email, social media. The website it's kind of a landing page now. There's not really a whole ton up there right now because I'm in the middle of a rebrand. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining me, whether you were live or whether this is a recording and you're watching it later. Thank you for watching it.
And thank you, Melissa, for that. I have a couple of, first of all, I just want to say, if there's any questions, put them in the chat for Melissa, or any comments you want to give her about this presentation, this class. I have a couple if you're cool with that, Melissa.
Yeah.
Got me thinking. First of all, thank you about the DIY piece that you just said, do everything ahead of time. So what came to my mind, and this is more like a decorator sort of thought than design, but if you don't have all this stuff ahead, I think it can really mess up a budget too, right? Because like, I'm picturing myself, what if I thought I wanted to decorate, a wall in a certain way? So I think it's one picture and I think it's going to cost me a certain amount of money. But then when I actually get it in my hot little hands and put up on the wall, I'm like, no way, I'm a DIYer. The scale of that wasn't right. I need 3. And that changes this. So that's really, really good that you said that, because I think, DIYing it, your budget can get really crazy, right? If you're working with a designer, they're mapping out the whole budget, they know how much everything costs, but it can get really tough doing it yourself in that way. So having it all ahead of time lets you figure out what you've got available. Mm-hmm. And I also wanted to say, I love what you said about loving your space, and what was coming to me was like how it makes you feel. And of course, I know you have this empathic nature. How I feel about things, I like very little color, which is funny. And I don't know why. It's something about my personality. It's something about, maybe I get overwhelmed too easily. And so for some people, it's really homey and comforting to have a lot of things that remind them of things like that. And I totally get that. And then for me, it's not. So that just would never work. So if that was the style, it just wouldn't work. And I'm like, nope, I like cozy blankets. That's what makes me happy. And then everything else would be just really light, not a lot of color. This room I'm in was painted like this when I got here, and I loved it. It's the only room in my whole house that has color, but I love it. It's my office. So
I love it.
But what you just said, it's kind of a simple thing, but I don't know if people would think about that ahead of time. It's all about how you feel in that space. And again, how you function, right? Like if you have certain things you do, you need things to function in a way, which that's what designers are so great about too, is figuring out how to function it. But when I come home and I see this the way it is that I like it, it does make me happy and more comfortable is the word. Like I feel comfortable in my space that way. Yeah.
Yeah. It helps you be more and do more when you're really comfortable, when you're fulfilling those needs you have that your home has to fulfill. Like, obviously, there has to be restfulness somewhere in there, because you come back for rest and respite in your home. But, it's also that's why I use those word activities, because the words I pull out that you and your family want and you want for your guests might be 2 totally different things. And
Hmm.
it's really interesting to pull out those words, because then those words can guide you on the feelings you're looking for when you're looking for inspiration for that space.
Yeah. I love it. And just putting all these things together. If these are all the things I like, and then I were to look at 20 different images of things that attract me and kind of why it starts to come together. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
We have a comment that says, I can't get to the place where I can get you to do it all for me. I don't know if you can see the comments there.
let's do it. It's aspirational too. You can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is one of those things. There are a lot of people who, when they think about it, or one, are busy. We can all relate to that. Especially with so many femmes who are balancing 5 million things. Once I have my own place, yes. I have actually done design for rental spaces before. It's just an entirely different psychology. So yeah, I forgot where I was going with my previous thought. It's fine.
It's all good. Thank you so much, Melissa, for this. It was inspirational and also very thought-provoking for me as well. So thank you so much. We always love having you on. You're a great teacher. We appreciate you so much. So good to see you again. Thanks for joining us and having your comments there too, Alex. Appreciate it very much. And we will see you all next week. Reach out to Melissa. You know where to find her. Bye.